When Jungkook and Jimin set off for shooting practice recently, they thought it would be another routine training session. Both had gone through various strenuous training and physical endurance tests during their conscription, but this time shooting practice looked different. The atmosphere on the court was already more tense than usual. The instructors gave directions in a serious tone, as if wanting to make sure that each participant really understood what to do. However, no one anticipated that this exercise would turn into a surprise attack. In the midst of the bustle of preparing weapons and taking their respective positions, suddenly the sound of gunfire echoed from an unexpected direction. The voice did not come from Jungkook, Jimin, or any of the other members in the rehearsal. The instructor looked confused and didn't give instructions for a few seconds, as if they didn't know what was going on either. Who shot? What's the point of this shot? The questions immediately came to the minds of the participants. The suspicion that someone is infiltrating, or that an unexpected situation is happening, puts them on the verge of panic. The tension intensifies as one after another. The sound of gunfire is heard more clearly, gets closer, and feels real. The participants had to choose: stay in their positions and continue the exercise, or try to find cover. Amid the confusion, some instructors tried to calm the participants, but even they seemed unsure. This state of affairs really created emotional turmoil for many people, especially for Jungkook and Jimin, who may have never felt this heavy mental pressure during training. When that shooting practice started, the atmosphere felt as normal as ever. The participants, including Jungkook and Jimin, took their positions at the shooting range. The main instructor gives the signal and directs them calmly, preparing each participant to shoot at a predetermined target. However, shortly after the practice began, an unexpected incident occurred. In the midst of the sound of practice shots, there was suddenly a louder eruption sound, and it came from an unexpected direction, making everyone surprised and alert. The shots heard were not from other participants or the instructor. The sound of the shot came from a position inaccessible to the training participants, creating an atmosphere that suddenly turned tense. The participants, including Jungkook and Jimin, immediately felt something strange and started looking around for the source of the sound. Their faces looked tense, trying to make sense of the situation while enduring fear and confusion. Has anyone infiltrated? That's the question that comes to their minds. Some instructors tried to signal the participants to remain calm, but the look on their faces also indicated that this situation was outside the pre-planned scenario. An instructor attempts to take control and give instructions to keep all participants in their positions, but the sense of tension intensifies. Jungkook, who is known for his calmness, looks alert, while continuing to observe around with keen eyes. Meanwhile, Jimin showed small signs of panic, but still tried to maintain his position. The tension in the field is further felt when the instructor gives the command to the participants to prepare for a possible attack. This situation is like in the scenes of action movies. The participants line up, stand guard with their weapons, trying to protect themselves in anticipation of an attack from an invisible enemy. Some participants began to break out in cold sweats, while others tried to control their breathing to keep calm as time went on. The sound of the unknown shot was heard more and more often. The participants were perplexed. Was this a normal exercise, or was there really an intruder? The instructor on duty did not immediately provide certainty, making the participants increasingly swayed in confusion. For Jungkook and Jimin, who felt the tension of this magnitude for the first time in military training, this moment felt like a very heavy physical and mental test. In the midst of the situation, Jungkook and Jimin try to exchange glances, as if seeking strength from each other. There were no words spoken, but from the look on their faces, both of them gave each other encouragement to stay strong. Despite being in a very stressful situation, they show great mental resilience, trying to remain calm while following instructions with great care. When the situation reached its breaking point, rapid steps were heard approaching from the direction of the trees. In a split second, a figure in military clothes appeared, carrying a weapon. and ran towards the positions of the participants. Jungkook and Jimin, along with the rest of the participants, directly aimed their weapons, preparing to act on command. Their hearts beat faster, as if preparing for a real threat. However, when the figure approached and was finally clearly visible, a sudden order from the instructor stopped all action. The atmosphere was quiet again for a moment before the main instructor revealed the truth. The enemy figure that had just appeared was part of the training scenario. In a calm but confident tone, the instructor explains that this whole tension is designed to test their reaction and mental readiness in unexpected emergency situations. When the participants realized that the intruder was part of the exercise, their emotions were mixed between relief and slight annoyance. They finally understand that all this tension is part of a very realistic exercise plan, designed to prepare them for emergency situations. Some participants laughed with relief, while others still looked tense, trying to digest the experience they had just experienced. Jungkook seemed to be silent for a moment, then smiled slightly as if he realized how seriously he was dealing with the situation earlier. For Jungkook, this experience may have been one of the most exciting challenges during his conscription, an important lesson in calmness and readiness under pressure. The master instructor then explained that this kind of exercise is very important in the military world to train the mental and physical toughness of the soldiers. Through unexpected scenarios, participants can test to what extent they can remain calm, act rationally, and follow orders without panic. This is part of your training to learn to survive, the instructor said in a more serious tone. For both of them, this experience became one of the most memorable moments during military service. Not only does it test physical and shooting skills, it also imparts important lessons about alertness, mental resilience, and courage in the face of uncertainty. After a few minutes that felt like an eternity, the master instructor finally coded that the shots were part of the practice scenario. The intruder, who was suspected to be the enemy, turned out to be actually a trainee who was deliberately assigned to create a surprise attack simulation. This fact caused mixed reactions among the participants: relief, anger, and even bewilderment. Word of the practice soon spread, sparking heated discussions on social media. Fans are torn between those who appreciate realistic training methods and those who question whether scenarios like this are too extreme. On the one hand, there are those who think that this step is part of the mental and physical preparation necessary to face an emergency situation. In response to the growing controversy, the training side finally issued an official statement. They clarified that the shooting drills with this infiltration scenario are designed to increase the preparedness of participants in unexpected situations so that they can remain calm under pressure. They also affirmed that the entire procedure is carried out with strict supervision to ensure safety. According to the training, this exercise was actually planned long in advance and carried out with careful consideration. The goal is to provide a more realistic experience of how to deal with emergency situations. We want the participants to learn to control themselves and act wisely in stressful situations, reveals one of the senior coaches. After the tension subsided, Jungkook and Jimin showed remarkable mental resilience. They continued training with full dedication, despite being shaken by the incident. Both, according to fellow participants, looked more alert and cautious in their every move after the unidentified shooting incident. The tension in this shooting practice may have subsided, but the experience that Jungkook and Jimin experienced will always be remembered by them. Is this simulation too extreme, or just right on target in preparing participants for a real situation? That's the question that fans and netizens continue to debate. However, one thing is certain: Jungkook and Jimin have proven that they are capable of surviving under pressure, not only as idols, but also as individuals who live up to obligations to the country.